All right. Hello and welcome to episode 1. Guys, we're at episode 1 now. We got out of the doldrums of our first episode, episode 0. This is episode 1 of the Video Game Dads podcast, the weekly independent podcast where 3 guys in a basement talk gaming, fatherhood, and everything in between. I am one of your 3 hosts. My name is Ben.
I'm Shane.
And I'm Adam.
All right. And where can we find us? You can find us via email. Adam, what's our email?
It's videogamedads@yahoo.com.
All right. And then Twitter, which I started that up. We've all kind of taken reins on starting up different social media things. The Twitter is the @videogamedads. That is our handle. And the Facebook, Shane?
Facebook /Video Game Dads.
And we have a Facebook page. Facebook, hey, guys, we're kind of legit right now. We've got a Twitter, we've got a Facebook, our email, of course, and then also an iTunes. I forgot we got our iTunes up and going.
So we're Video Game Dads on iTunes. We're also on Stitcher Smart Radio, if you still want to refer to it as that, but Stitcher Radio, and also Google Play. So we're somewhat readily available. We're going to add ourselves to a few other services probably here pretty soon, but that should get most of the people who want to listen to us. I think maybe you actually did an addition here just the other day.
Yeah. Oh, and YouTube. Yeah, that's right. I started up a YouTube channel. I mean, we don't have anything up there yet, but eventually, put links to that and things like that. And also what we're going to try to do is, we all listen to a podcast here and there. Anytime we mention anything noteworthy, like let's say a page of someone on YouTube we like, or a video, or a link to an article or something, we're going to try to put it in our show notes so you can find it, because I know from my experience when I'm listening to a podcast and I want to remember something or write something down, or I hear something that I want to look up later, I forget to do that or try to see. So we're going to try to put that in our show notes to save you guys time so you can listen all the way through it. And if you care to, you can check those links of the people we recommend, etc. Oh, also, we'd like to do another shout out. A friend of mine called Drew Shaneyfelt. He is a graphic artist. He did our logo that's currently up. If you have found us on, let's say iTunes, that little logo next to us, before we kind of made a makeshift logo, this one looks kind of legit. He is a true graphic artist. I don't know if I told you, Drew Shaneyfelt actually has done the graphics to a lot of professional arenas and things. So when he said he'd be like, oh yeah, I'm sure I'd do that, I was really pumped to see that. And it's cool. Nice little simplistic logo, like us. We're simplistic guys. But yeah, he's done the Royals stuff on the big screen, like some NBA stuff, NHL stuff, like when they have their graphics of the players coming out and stuff like that. So he just did that on his side time. So we appreciate that, Drew, and we will link to him if he so wants us to put his email up or something like that. And also our music, Adam. We also
so there's a fella on Bandcamp named Evan Cook who we've borrowed some chiptunes from. I shouldn't say borrowed. He actually gives them to you.
Yeah, and we paid for them.
Yeah, you can give him a donation. You can use them. So go look him up if you're interested in such things. Music's really good. So if you like any of the tunes on the show, you can pick some up there.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on to gaming news, I think we have a few things that we want to talk about. There's some Zelda news I hear.
I heard that from
Shane wants to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, it's a little rumor mill. They're talking about Zelda is actually going to be delayed from a few sources. I can't remember their names, but they're saying that it won't be a launch title. So now it's getting. They're saying now there's going to be a Mario launch title instead.
And this is for the what was it? The Switch, the
Switch,
new Switch.
Yep,
and then Switch. Also, so this was a Zelda game that was going to come out for the Switch and going to come out for the Wii U. It's called Breath of the Wild.
Yeah,
or Breath or Breath.
I think it's Breath.
Yeah,
like wide expanse.
Breath.
Yeah. I actually can't pronounce the difference between the two.
Yeah, I think the only way, if we were like an English gentleman, we could say that a little better. We're silly dumb Americans, so we can't speak English very well. But anyway, so that game, a lot of people are looking forward to that. Even me, honestly, I'm not a huge Zelda fan. When I saw that, I thought, hey, this looks like a pretty fun, good game. I appreciate Zelda, but I don't play a ton of it.
I'm very disturbed about this, because it's like, what are you going to have for the launch lineup now? Is you take Zelda out of there.
Yeah.
And I don't even know for sure the Mario for sure, because we haven't seen anything at all. Granted, they're supposed to have something going on with their YouTube channel or something, or going on with
more games or whatever that are coming out for it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's going to come out eventually. They usually delay a Zelda. I know, like someone like you, big Nintendo fan. Are you? And you're not a big Zelda fan, Adam?
I am. I don't worry about Zelda delays too much because just about every Zelda game that's ever been made, they announce it, and then they kind of peddle it around for a while, and they announce a release date, and then they back it up about 4 or 5 times, and then it eventually comes out about 3 years after when it was originally.
I think that's why I'm disappointed, is because for the Wii, that was one of their launch titles, and I was super jacked up about it, and that's why I bought a Wii day one.
Yeah.
And for the Wii U, they didn't have any really great launch titles like that.
Yeah, that's
they had
true.
New Super Mario Brothers. Like, okay, we played this before.
Yeah.
Now it's sort of like, what? I really want to see what they're gonna come out with.
What
now.
is, you play Zelda, so not to get off topic, but like what's your favorite Zelda? There's like 100 of them.
To me, the first Zelda is great.
Yeah, the
And-
NES one, the first one, yeah.
And I'll probably lose my gamer card, but I really like Four Swords just because being able to play with friends. I mean, when they added that GBA aspect, I bought actually 2 of my friends a GBA so we could play together, and I loved it. Just
Really?
loved it. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of indifferent because I don't think I'm going to get this thing at launch. I just invest in PSVR. This would be about the time that Kiddo comes out. I always feel like, okay, so you two have kids already that are born. I've got one coming in like 3 months. I'm super excited about it. So is my wife. But I always feel like no matter what, you guys are always going to beat me because my kid's always going to be younger than yours, right? So every like milestone, if this is a race, there's no way I can win it. But in a way, you guys just keep telling me to enjoy my last 3 months.
No one wins.
yeah,
No one wins. Okay.
Yeah, especially you.
Yeah. Well, poor Shane. Shane over there in the corner. We're doing this late at night, and he's got 3 kids at 3 or under.
Yes.
So the fact that you are somewhat upright, Adam and I both appreciate that.
yeah. I'm struggle bussing right now, but I'm trying to pull through. So
Yeah. All right. So I guess the other thing is this. We'll talk about it a little bit. The NES Classic Edition. We talked about this last time.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did. We talked about it some last time, but it came out.
Yeah.
Kind of.
It
Yeah.
came out.
It came
And-
out for a small select few number of people, most of whom appear to be scalpers.
Yeah, so let's talk about this. We are all collectors, 3 of us. I would say raise your hands, but this is a podcast. Which one of us has this thing? And crickets. None of us have this thing yet, and it's not because we don't want it. I think eventually we're all going to get it. Nintendo, I really didn't think they were going to do this. I saw an article, I think, on Kotaku about it. They called it just basically false, blatant. What am I trying to say? Like,
An intentional shortage. I think.
yeah, an
Yes.
intentional. Thank you very much.
Typical
Words are out of
Nintendo.
my- Yeah, an intentional shortage, which I think is not something you need to do nowadays.
No.
Now that we have the internet, we have enough hype behind it. Shortages used to work for that kind of thing because
Yeah.
then that way we get people talking about it. People would hunt and find these things. Now all it creates is frustration because at any moment I could buy 100 packs of sugar and have it in my front door like next day via Amazon and anything else. And the fact that this thing, everybody wants it. And there's a lot of disappointed people who, not necessarily us, because we're all we know we're going to get it eventually, but a lot of people who wanted this on launch day. Maybe there's a birthday coming up for somebody soon. They're not going to get this because GameStop had handful each?
10 to 12.
Yeah, Amazon sold out in minutes. I didn't check it.
No,
but-
I'll tell you a story about that here in a
Oh
little
yeah,
bit, but-
yeah. No, I'm just, I am pretty disappointed because this feels pretty. I don't know, just pretty blatant that they did this kind of
Well,
on
and
purpose.
I guess the biggest frustration is of course, when they announced it, I obviously wanted it, but there was no pre-order, and in this day and age, I mean, damn near everything that comes out that's going to have any kind of significant following or going to make a lot of sales, they issue pre-orders, and it's good for everybody because the people who pre-order know that they're going to get it, and then the company that's selling the thing knows that they have X number of pre-orders, and that helps them gauge demand. And I mean, obviously there was a lot of demand for this, but my personal story that I had here just in the last few days is that
Go ahead.
11/11 when it came out, I was like, well, I'm not going to stay up till midnight. I'm not going to the days of standing in line and getting trampled over and that sort of thing are a thing of the past. I don't want anything that bad anymore. But at any rate, I went to bed that night. I woke up that morning and I get up for work pretty early in the morning. But I get up like 4:30 or so, and so I immediately got online after I got up. Everybody sold out. There wasn't one to be found at any major retailer online that I could find, and I have two super Walmarts, like literally just within a couple of miles of my house. So on my way to work, I stopped by both of those, and of course, both of them were sold out, and both of them said that they sold out immediately at midnight. I get the sense that maybe they sold all of their units to one individual at each
Yeah.
store. However, so they were out. And then I had also signed up on Amazon. They had a thing for you to sign up, and then they would send you an email.
Yeah,
letting
I think
about the release.
I got that too, but I didn't. I knew it was like it's supposed to happen at like 2:00, but everybody was telling everybody to check it at 2:00.
Yeah.
And then I remembered I didn't care that much.
It was,
Yeah,
it was 2
that's the
o'clock.
way I was,
Yeah,
too.
it was 2:00 Pacific time, so it was 4 here.
Okay.
And so, so at
Required
4
to do a little bit of math in order to get it, so that knocked me out.
Well,
right
maybe,
there.
but at 4 o'clock or at 3:59, 3:58, I popped open my laptop and I just sat there and hitting the refresh button on the Amazon page. This is the
And this
amazing-
is the guy who just previously said, "Oh, it's not a big deal if I
Well,
don't get it or not." But no,
yeah,
I
I know.
understand. You actually tried to legitimately
I
get it. Yeah,
did. So just for that 5-minute period or whatever, and this has not been independently verified, but I did hear online, and I believe it because I was on Amazon at the time. They say that the demand of people hitting refresh on Amazon right at 4 p.m. on 11/11 looking for this thing crashed the entire Amazon site.
That is hard to
Wow.
do.
It was really kind of neat because one of the times I refreshed, all of a sudden it said now available, please click. And so I clicked on it,
what a
and
tease.
it would go to this other page, and it would say error. And then I hit the back button and clicked on it again, and then it said your shopping cart is empty.
Oh man.
Someone
and then
took
I
it out of your
hit back
shopping
again,
cart.
and
Oh
then it
man,
said-
it's
so-
Black Friday just in a digital
like
form.
Amiibos all
But
over
Had
again.
it in your shopping
literally-
cart.
I literally feel like this thing sold out within like less than a second. I mean, it was amazing. It was like boop and gone.
So probably also, I mean, when something like that happens, it depends on what side of the country the server started on. So if it started Pacific, it might have started on Pacific side. So then everybody who got it was like in New York. I remember hearing a podcast, if something comes up that quickly, literally the quickness of the data going across like whatever, the origin part of the server or something. Again, this is a non-techie guy if you haven't figured that out yet. But basically like, parts of the country are really at a disadvantage, and that kind of sounds like it in this case. So you didn't end up getting one. You still want to get one after this?
Eventually, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not hard up for the games. I don't guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got other stuff
You
I
have
can
all of
play,
them,
and well, I own all the originals too. So
It would have been a fun thing to have. And they,
yeah, it just kind of a cool thing. I want the box.
Yeah,
I
the
want,
box.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
want the box.
cardboard guys. Okay, well,
I tried to go to Target. I was halfway there. I had to stop and get an energy drink because I have to have one every morning. 3 kids, you got to have that. So
what
I-
is your energy drink of choice? Is what I want to know. Is it
man.
Monster? What do you like?
No, forget
Let's
Monster.
give a free
I-
plug to Monster right now.
No, not
Monster's
Monster.
our
I go
sponsors.
NOS. NOS sugar free, the yellow and white can. I don't even know what flavor it is. I think it's lemonade or something amazing. It'll
It's
save your
okay. I
life
think
if you
it's
got
funny
kids.
that
Do it.
The flavor is yellow. That's probably better, right? It's like the cheap soda. You want a can of purple?
Yeah, you know it's good for you when the flavor is a color.
Yeah.
But I ended up stopping at the gas station, got the energy drink. I have 2 of my kids. One of my daughter is actually at school at this time, and I got back in the van. And I was like, "Nope, I'm not doing it. I don't really care that much because I have half of these games already. I don't really need it, and there's no point to this."
Yeah.
And then all I could think about is Amiibos running over in my head again, because when you come to find out, as we keep doing this, I have every Amiibo. I totally got sucked in. So I just can't wait in lines anymore. I
Yeah.
just don't do it. So I was halfway there, and I was like, no, I'm done. No, going back home. So me and the kiddos went back home and just played and had fun.
Yeah. We're gonna get eventually. Supposedly, Nintendo said there's gonna be plenty
Yeah.
before Christmas, even though there wasn't plenty at launch. Which, no matter if they admit it or not, that was superly purposeful.
Well,
they knew that there was a demand for it. So
Episode 0, I was talking about, Nintendo's on the fast track and not doing E3. Well, Nintendo's showing their old age again. I was trying to do this
Yeah.
stock demand.
I don't know.
That's a very old way of thinking.
yeah.
Well, maybe, but it kind of everybody talks about the shortage, right? So,
All right, we're doing it right now.
Yeah,
we
that's
spent
true.
we spent longer
Yeah.
than we wanted to on it, right? We
Yeah,
wanted to just
I-
talk about it for a minute. We
I
talked about it
think
for like
worked.
more than
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Well, anyway, so kind of in the same breath, I was going to talk quickly about like Black Friday. That's coming up. This is going to be the last episode we have before Black
Yeah.
Friday. Do either of you participate in Black Friday in any way? Like, what do you buy stuff online? Do you go out to the stores, anything like that?
I've done the store thing in the past, but I don't know. I've gotten to where anymore I don't really like running over people or people running over me. So I
Sure.
do online some to some extent. I usually buy some Christmas presents and that sort of thing online, but I don't do the let's get up at waste Thanksgiving by staying up late and trying to shop all night or getting up super early the next morning. I'd rather just be with family.
Yeah, and it's partially, we got family and we got kids. I guess you could technically do it in your 20s. I didn't even really do it in my 20s.
I just follow you. You always send me the messages and like, hey man, look what I got. And I'm
I
like,
know.
oh man, that is so awesome. But with 3 kids now, my
Yeah.
wife isn't going to allow me to go for the hours to wait in line and stuff like that. And I really don't want to, but there's some awesome deals. Like you always show me the awesome deals. So you got to talk about some of these deals.
Well, I like to, most of the time on Black Friday, I do just stay in my home and make sure I set alarms basically when things are going to go on sale and I get them. I've been doing that for years. Last year was actually the first time I actually went out with a friend, and I'm going to do it again. My best friend, like growing up, my childhood friend, lives kind of far away. He's got his own work, kid stuff, so we don't get together very often, but we're going to try to make this a yearly thing. So we went out last Thanksgiving about 6 o'clock, and there's a Target and a Walmart within 10 minutes, 5 minutes of my house and his house. And we went there, and it was actually kind of fun. It was raining, it was really
weather
cold.
was bad.
The
I
weather
remember
was
you
bad,
saying
which
that,
maybe
yeah.
there was less crowd. But when we went at that time, the stores had already been open 5 hours, so all the doorbusters were gone, and there was moderate crowd. But what was actually nice about it is I think I got out of there faster than I would have been on a Sunday, because every single checkout line had a person in there, right?
Oh,
and if
nice.
you've ever seen Target, if listening to this from abroad or something, Target in America has like 50 checkout lines, and all the time when you go there, there's 1 or 2 people there. This time they were all full, and I went, and you get like Blu-rays, that kind of thing. So I saw this year, I looked through all the ads. I'm gonna get a couple Blu-rays, like The Martian is like $5. Nice. I can get that. And a couple other things, a couple other games are like $15. I will look at a laptop. I'm going to see if I could try to grab that, because my laptop is getting a little long in the tooth, and I'd rather get it before the hard drive or something goes out. So I'll probably look for a laptop. I'll get some stuff. We don't have a huge need. We're going to see if there's some baby stuff to grab. But, something interesting. Why I brought this up, I almost forgot. Something I noticed in all the ads that was pretty interesting, that I didn't want to break the news to Adam, Captain Wii U. There is no Wii U sales at any of the ads. And I know the system is going out. Nintendo recently announced that they're going to stop production, if they haven't already. I think they announced they stopped production. I just thought it was kind of funny that out of all the systems, even the 3DS, the poor Wii U isn't getting a Black Friday deal, at least not anywhere typical where people
Nintendo's
check.
stingy on their first party stuff.
The
It's
Wii
just-
U is always a deal.
Okay.
That's true.
No, but
that
I-
is.
I'm
mean,
just saying. I
just
think
get on
that
Amazon,
stands
yeah.
out. Last year there were Wii U deals, just like anything. You get Mario Kart, you get an extra game.
Yeah, I
but
think-
there's no mention.
Well, sort of. Maybe. This is pure conjecture on my part, I suppose. But my thought was, well, maybe they're not doing any deals because whatever stock or back stock that they've already manufactured, they're going to have to keep around to somewhat fill the gap between. Because if they sell out of everything at Thanksgiving and Christmas, there's still going to be a gap until March when the
Yeah.
Switch comes out, and the stores
I
are going
see.
to want something on the shelf. So I think that my speculation is that they're not offering a quote unquote bundle deal or
Yeah,
anything.
They don't
like
want to
that.
budge just to lose it, because might as well just sell it at full price.
Well,
Yeah, makes
exactly. I think that maybe they'll fire sale stuff right at the very end, and really what I'm waiting on, and Shane actually has already secured one of these, and I'm going to kill him for it. Is a Wii U kiosk. So
Yeah.
eventually I'm going to run around and threaten store managers until I can get my hands on a Wii U kiosk. But Shane's already secured
yeah,
one.
I can't wait till that bad boy's in my basement.
Yeah, so a kiosk. Most people would know this, but if not, it's the actual like demo stations that are professionally like put together that show off the things in the store.
Yeah.
And we all actually we're insane collectors, so we all have a couple here and there.
Yeah.
But Shane, you've kind of found
This
out
will
that
be
you're
my
gonna get-
first kiosk, so
Okay.
I'm really excited for it. And
Yeah,
it's
if you
coming
wanna
from my
get-
brother from a GameStop, so it's going to have a little bit of sentimental value to it.
Sure, yeah.
So that's going to be really awesome. But
Family hooking you up. When are you going to get this thing?
he doesn't know yet. The Nintendo rep, I probably shouldn't talk about it. But
No,
I
it's
will.
fine.
He'll be
I
all
don't-
right.
Yeah,
He'll be all right.
we'll tell. Hey, Nintendo, cover your ears. Right? Everybody listening that works at Nintendo right now, just forget
But the
what we're
Nintendo
about
rep
to say.
just told him as soon as like they switch out to the Switch, but when they switch out to that, that he could have it. They're probably going to pull the system and the TV, but
Sure.
not a big deal to me, man. I'll
Yeah,
take that.
that's
It's
really
going to be
cool.
awesome.
I don't know what makes kiosk stuff so cool, but it is cool. I mean, I've got a Dreamcast kiosk, as does Benjamin.
Yeah.
And it may not be mine for too much longer because Shane really wants it. But
Giving up lots of Nintendo stuff. for
well,
it.
sort of, and even a lot of people don't know this, but even the individual games and disc and things that go in the kiosk systems are they're issued for that.
Yeah.
And like for instance, I have a Contra 3, the Alien Wars for Super Nintendo. That's a kiosk copy, and on the back of it, it says property of Nintendo, and those things are really rare because.
There's a finite amount of those.
Well,
Yeah.
sort of. There's a small number produced, but then they go to the store. They're in the kiosk demo units, and then when they're done with the kiosk
supposed to
demo
destroy
units,
it or send it
they
back.
go back to Nintendo and they get put into the incinerator, and then they go away. So those things tend to, for the right collector, I suppose, but they tend to hold a lot of value, or at least have a lot of rarity to them, which makes people want them. So it's kind of neat, and some people just like the nostalgia of the video game
I
store,
think that's
et
it.
cetera.
That's what I was going
Yeah.
to mention. Like, that's what it reminds you of, playing the game in the store when you
yeah.
first see it. And a lot of times you didn't have everything as a kid, everything you wanted. So it's kind of neat to have something like that you can readily play all the time, even though most of us just look at it like it's a museum
I'll probably just end up
piece.
looking at half of
Right?
the time.
Yeah,
but
but,
man, it's going to look so
What
sweet.
also is great is, as our kids get older, these things are durable. Like,
Yeah.
I have the Dreamcast one, as do you. So I've looked inside that thing. That thing is built like a tank. It's built with like solid wood. The framing is done really professionally. It's meant to be, kicked inside. I don't know. No one, please come over to my house and kick my kiosk. But it's meant to take a nice beating. So they're durable, and I'm sure our kids will play with them generations to come. Who know, our great grandkids are going to tinker with them and put them back together, listen to these podcasts in archive form or something like that to understand how important they are to us. But anyway, all right, moving on. I don't know how I got onto that. Something else, it's going to be kind of, this is a family podcast. I know we said it in the first episode, that we try not to have any cussing or anything like that. We want to keep this family friendly, as if you got a little kid running around. If you're listening to this out loud, cleaning or something like that, you'd be able to not run and turn this off. So I'm I'm going to try to say this as gently as possible. There's some news that was kind of funny. This game, Watch Dogs 2, which is a sequel to Watch Dogs 1, which is, I think, about a launch title-ish for PlayStation 4. It didn't come out on Xbox One, right? This is only a PlayStation thing?
I'm not sure about the Xbox, actually. I know that
it's
PlayStation's its main platform.
Yeah, so I get, I think it's PlayStation. Who knows? But it has a sequel. The sequel just came out, and evidently, there's been nudity in games before. Evidently, there's full frontal nudity in this. The NPCs, which are a fancy way of saying the people of the world. The game is essentially you're a hacker in a real world, hacking things, devices. But evidently, some of these real world characters that are just kind of background, if they get knocked over, ran over something, you can walk up and you can actually see their goods.
Oh, boy.
Like the guy goods, the man berries, and
Oh,
also the
boy.
women goods you can kind of see. So this was an article I saw that you can search yourself. I'm actually not going to link to this, but you can find this yourself. I showed you guys before this podcast started. First, I thought it was a hoax. This thing is oh my gosh, they might get in a little bit of trouble for this. I'm not sure, they're going to say there's nudity allowed, and it's not the first time you've seen Manberry in a game. Grand Theft Auto 5 had this in one mission. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
But as far as showing the lady parts and stuff, I was super shocked by that. So what's happening, evidently, is I just heard there's going to be a patch. So they're going to patch this thing out. The flip side of that is, you need a patch to connect to the internet. If you buy this disc and turn off the internet portion of your game system, you can still play it, and all that stuff is still there.
So that would essentially be what was that game? That was a demo. Was it PT? That we're talking?
PT, yeah, it's that Resident Evil one. Yeah, that they. What about that? I never got
they did that where it was a limited demo, but then they put a patch in, and now it's not available. But now people are selling PlayStation 4s for $500-$600, or they were at certain times that for $500-$600 for just to play that demo.
Copyright issue.
Really,
this is reminding us why we like retro games,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Because our games on our little shelf are going to stay there as long as we want them there, and there's no uploading anything. You turn them on, they instantly play. I like new games. A lot of people do. Millions of people own these consoles, but there's something to be said about having a game and knowing that
what you
put
get.
it, what you have is 100% the game. It's in
Yeah.
there. No one can mess with it unless you dunk it in water or mess it up yourself. This game is going to be the way it was when you were a kid and as you're playing now. But we can't say the same for these other games.
Yeah, and I mean, and I mean, it even goes beyond that. Like there are games like, I mean, it's another Ubisoft or Ubisoft, depending on how you want to pronounce it. Game.
Yeah.
The Division that. I mean, as near as I could tell, playing that game, as soon as the server is gone, so is the game, and
It's like multiplayer only, I guess.
Yeah, sort of. I mean, it's sort of an MMO, type thing. But I mean, there's this whole family of games that essentially once the internet capacity to be able to play the games, or the publisher of the game decides, you know what, we're not really making any money off of this anymore. Yeah. We're putting the server down. That's the game. It's gone at that point. So there are, at least in this generation, a number of games that when the servers go down, they're gone. And then you have the other issue of things like Street Fighter V, like we were talking about earlier, where they kind of release this half-baked, sort of half-done game. And they're like, well, we'll just fix it later with patches. I mean, eventually, if there's no server with the patches on it, that are available for the updates, if you go back and try to play them in the future, you might be playing a really busted version
just a horrible
of
version.
what the game actually ended up being. So that is like a real thing, with modern gaming that'll be an impact for the future. And as far as, people who want to preserve things, I'm not sure how that's going to figure in exactly, being able to preserve things.
That's what I'm curious about, on how collecting is going to end up in, so many in numerous years. How's that going to work? Is like you're going to buy a physical disc that has nothing to it?
Nothing on it.
You're just going to look at it as like a shrine or something?
I think, at least it's physical. I mean, soon it's all going to be digital,
right?
That's
know,
the way it's going to go. But
thing.
there is, obviously there's a lot to have and a lot to collect, and we have a lot, and most of us have been collecting a while, so we have most of what we want. And I think it's just going to be like anything. The collectors get older. If you've ever seen like Matchbox car collectors or things like that, they still collect them. They're still, and honestly, the more hardcore collectors just keep collecting more, and the people get out of it normally that would get out of it. So it's like circle of life with this stuff. Eventually, we're going to either pass it on or sell it or do something, take a vacation for it. It's ours temporarily. But at least it's in the hands of someone that appreciates it, right? And that Wii U kiosk would essentially be destroyed.
Yeah.
But you appreciate it, right?
Yeah.
And the trash heap's not gonna appreciate it. So that's why it's kind of nice when we hear those kind of stories.
When I die, I want to be buried with all my stuff like a pharaoh.
I just want, me too. I just want the Tender Games of Slay Us.
I'm gonna play it in the afterlife. So I want it to all be entombed around me.
As long as I could suck out your skin and put embalming fluid. What do they do? Like, you really want to do that? You got to do the full Monty. If you want to be buried with your stuff, they've got to suck out all your insides.
No, that's fine.
You're okay with that? Okay.
That's the price you pay.
Fair enough. All right, and the other things that came out, I guess, for the PlayStation Slim, PlayStation Pro. For those that don't know, which probably a lot of people don't, unless you're following gaming news. They updated the PlayStation and just basically slimmed it down like they did with the PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3. Cost-cutting measures, runs a little quieter, smaller form factor.
Sleeker. Yeah.
A little sleeker, maybe it loads a little faster. But the flip side of this is they came out with the PlayStation Pro, i.e. PlayStation Professional. They did this because we are kind of changing from 1080p to 4K. Everybody knows, people are looking at 4K TVs. A lot of people are going to buy them here Black Friday. I'm not going to yet. We could talk about that on another episode. But basically what I found is, you can get a 4K TV now. You can get it with HDR. But since there's still a few things that aren't standard and OLEDs, what I think you would want in it, there's just not many models of it, and they're still really expensive. I'm going to hold off on it by all the research I've done. And because of that, I'm not going to buy this PlayStation Pro. But basically what it does is it will play in one form or another 4K. It'll play your existing games. You don't have to buy different games for it. It just is a little more powerful. And Xbox is coming out with something like this as well. So this new powerful system is out now for the PlayStation. Xbox, codename Scorpio. I always like code names, right? What's your favorite?
Yeah.
What's your favorite?
They always
code
end
name?
up better that way.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. Okay,
the
Adam,
code
what's your
names are
favorite
better.
code name?
Well, I've got two. Does
On
that count?
spot.
But it's the same console.
Go ahead.
So Project Reality, which became Ultra 64,
Oh yeah,
which then became the Nintendo 64.
Nintendo 64.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or, well, it's a tie between that and the Revolution, which is what they should have called the Wii.
The Wii. Yeah, and I agree. And Shane, what's your favorite?
He stole mine already.
Oh, you stole it?
Yeah,
Well,
he stole them.
I know what yours is. I'm going to guess what yours is.
All right, go ahead.
Katana.
Yes. And what's the other name for? What's the name of the GameCube? We're just quizzing each other.
The Dolphin was.
Yeah, the Dolphin.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Dreamcast actually had another name. It was Katana, and it also had another one. I'm drawing a
I
blank.
did, but I can't remember.
Yeah.
The Katana was so much cooler than the other. I'm sure
I know.
that's
Isn't
the
it
other
funny?
one
Like
that's
the fake names are almost better than the real names. I like Dreamcast. It's different. But anyway, this Xbox Scorpio supposedly is going to be the bee's knees in terms of console power, and then you're going to get. Yeah, we're not going to talk about it much because we're console gamers, not PC gamers. The PC people are like, oh, it's just getting more like a PC. My PC's better than that, but it's like, oh, it's not
My
so
PC's
easy.
still better than that.
Yeah,
Duh.
they say that, but then how do you upload this? Turn on, there's a lot of bugs and things you got to figure out with PC. It's not just
Yeah.
plug and play, no matter what they
No.
say.
Yeah.
Haha. But anyway, this Xbox Scorpio is going to come out next year. We don't know much about it. They haven't released a full spec lineup. They also haven't released the price. And right now, unless Microsoft is going to take a huge cut from this, a huge deficit, this thing's going to be really expensive.
You would think it would be really expensive. I mean, with what is that? What is the player?
HDR.
HDR.
Oh, no, Blu-ray. It's going to have a Blu-ray.
Yeah, the Blu-ray, the 4K Bluray player. I mean,
Yeah.
even
Which
PlayStation to even
the
include that
PS4
in.
Pro doesn't have a 4K Blu-ray
Yeah, I
player,
forgot
which
to
is
mention that.
kind of surprising actually, because Sony is sort of the inventor of the Blu-ray format. And
Yeah, big reason why I didn't get it, to be honest with you, because I'm
Yeah.
kind of I like my Blu-rays. I really like. I have a nice Blu-ray collection, and I'm not going to get one because I'm not going to upgrade my Blu-rays.
Yeah, and
I'm
I
happy with where they are.
understand the Scorpio is going to be more powerful and everything else, and
And
the
the price right now, it would have to be like, honestly, it's with what they're saying, the powerfulness of it. It sounds like a $700 system. It's probably not going to be that much when it comes out, but I would
gotta
not be
be.
surprised if this
Yeah.
is like
yeah,
a
anything they're
$500-$600
using
system.
the word teraflops, whatever that happens to be, as much as they are with Scorpio.
It's a way to go from one planet to another. I don't know.
Potentially, of course. I
At least we're not going to say we know what it means because a lot of people do.
Well, that's the
I've
thing.
actually heard
1.271 gigawatts.
Yeah.
That's
then we
what my stuff.
Yeah, then we
runs
see an
Future
old man
boys.
dressed in gray hair with a flying car. That's what happens. See, I know science, right? No, but I've heard enough. I understand when I'm listening to someone who knows what they're talking about and then complain about the people that don't. So we're not going to be that. We're not going to do that. But we can talk in terms of raw power. This thing's still going to be an Xbox One. It's just going to be really souped up, right?
Yeah.
This is a Ferrari of this console. The thing is that going to be worth it? Is that going to be worth the price?
That's the thing is like, why would you spend the money just to upgrade to that? Why? And my question is, why didn't they do this to begin with? Why didn't they just stall it for another year or two and just added this stuff in? I don't get.
I don't know. Of course, I'm, and part of this is being older and having been through all the previous generations. But I think we're at the point of
Old man comment coming.
sort of old. Yeah,
Alert.
incoming.
Yeah.
But no, it's sort of the law of diminishing returns, right? I mean, it's kind of like if you have an 800 horsepower car. Is the 825 horsepower car really that much better when the experience is pretty much the same?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I still play my PS3 probably more than my PS4,
Yeah.
for instance, and because I think the games on it play really well, and PS3 still has a better library than the PS4.
Sure.
And there's still a lot of games on PS3 I haven't played.
It's
so-
crazy. So the PS3 is now going to be 12 years old soon. 12 years, and they're still making games for it. I really thought they, we talked about the PlayStation 2 had a long life, went from 2000 to, I think, they made a soccer game that's like 2012, I think, up to.
Yeah.
I think they made a 2012 soccer, but they only made sports games the last couple of years. But now, there's still actual games coming out for this thing. And they said it was going to be a 10-year life cycle. I don't know if you guys remember, in 2005, they said, this place, because before life cycles were 5 years, typically. And they said this was going to be a 10-year life cycle. And I was like, oh my God, in 10 years I'm going to be, having my own flying car. That seems like so far away. But we're on year 12, 13. They're still making games.
Yeah,
so,
still
hey,
making them.
they were right. Anyway, I guess that's it for our gaming news segment. Now we're going to talk about kind of what we've been up to lately in collecting.
Sure. So I can start this one out. I go through periods, peaks and valleys in collecting where I'll get a whole bunch of stuff all at once. Then I kind of, go into a little bit of a dip or a hold off phase. I'm kind of in the middle of a hold off phase, and I'm still. I mentioned on episode 0 that I had ordered a Neo Geo Omega. Still waiting on that dude to get here in the mail. But I've been kind of tiding myself over a little bit with some Neo Geo fighting games.
Yeah.
So on Dreamcast, I've been doing a little bit of SNK versus Capcom, and then I've also been doing King of Fighters 13 on the PS3, and I have an X Arcade tank stick. Not that they're paying us any money, but I'll go ahead and plug it. But it's a gigantic. It's called a tank stick for a reason. It's because it's
huge.
It's like 3 feet across,
Yeah, that'd
like
crush,
3 feet wide.
that would crush Grayson.
It's enormous. So I've had that plugged into the PS3 upstairs, and I've been rocking out the King of Fighters 13, and I've actually ordered the King of Fighters 14 for my PS4, and I'm waiting on it to get in the mail. And I've never been very good at fighting games.
Honestly, me neither.
But I really appreciate them. So I really like playing them, even though I stink. So I've been trying to get back into the groove of playing that stuff a little bit, and trying to get some of the non Neo Geo system Neo Geo games, and so in addition to that, I've got the Wii SNK Arcade Collection Volume 1, which actually has gone up a little bit in price here recently. I think it's running probably around $30 now for the most part, but that's actually a really good compilation, and it has Neo Turf Masters on it, which
golf game.
It's a golf game.
Golf game.
And
really
golf
good golf game.
It is.
Yeah.
And golf game, blah, golf, boo. But
it's awesome.
But Neo Turf Masters literally is like the coolest / best golf game probably ever made. I love Neo Turf Masters. And that's actually a super rare Neo Geo game if you were to go out and buy the actual cartridge, but it's or at least for the AES, I believe.
AES is super expensive.
Yeah, but at any rate, that game's on there, and it's super good. And Burning Fight and some other games are on there. I was going to say Neo Drift Out's on it. I think they may actually not be on it. But at any rate, I've been playing that a little bit too. But,
cool.
But at any rate, so I've kind of been doing those things here a little bit lately, and I got a couple of Wii U games in the mail, and that's kind of all I've been up to.
Keeping that collection going.
Yep.
How far away are you from completion? Completion watch.
I need to actually make a spreadsheet because the way I do it right now
you're talking my language. Make a spreadsheet.
Spreadsheets and graphs. But
hey, you got to, because honest. Quick break. How many of you guys, in a show of hands again, because this is radio, have bought the same game that you already have? Right.
I've done it before.
Yeah, you're both raising your hands. So am I.
Well, it's funny that you bring that up because the most recent Wii U game I got in was the Steam World compilation disc, and I'm an old man, so I've gotten a little bit senile, and occasionally I pre-order something on Amazon, and then I see it again later, and I forget that I already pre-ordered it, and I pre-ordered it again. So I actually have 2 copies of that game, so I guess I'll play one and leave the other sealed. I'm not sure, because I probably won't ever get around to singing it back. And actually, Breath of the Wild, when you brought it up earlier, I got on my Amazon account the other day and realized I've ordered it 3 times. So I canceled 2 of my pre-orders. So because I've been ordering it, they started the pre-order like back in May. So like every 2 months I forget that I pre-ordered it.
Jeez.
and then I pre-order it.
Well, you may not ever get them, so we don't know.
Yeah, or by the time it comes out, I'm going to have $700 worth of.
Adam, can I tell you the first early stages of dementia and how they?
I know. Where are my car keys? Who are you?
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty funny. See, if you don't already know, listeners, we are crazy collectors, and we are showing you we are, because we buy the same thing 100 times, pre-order things 100 times. But hey, we do it for our hobby, and we do love.
Well,
our
and that's
hobby.
not even counting how many digital downloads of physical games I own that I've bought. I've probably bought Mario Brothers 3 15 times over the years. I mean, it's stupid, but it's true.
Yeah. So, hey, it's a great game. Good game to own 15 times. So, Shane, I was going to ask you, to talk about something that you did that might trump anything we've ever done that's pretty awesome. You made a secret door.
Yeah, I actually made a secret door. Me and my brother-in-law actually...
Or hidden door. What is it
called? Yeah,
hidden
door, secret door.
So if you've ever seen...
bookshelf.
Yeah, Webster as a kid, like little hiding place.
Yeah.
Something like Batman, right?
It's
How does
like
Batman get you-
Adam's Family.
Adam's Family, Batman. It's something that probably every generation has wanted, and I've always thought about a way to put it in my house. And
Yeah.
you actually have one, so you should.
Yeah, as a kid, I always wanted a secret door just to like lead into what I always wanted, what I was collecting or had, or I didn't realize it was going to be video games, but that's what it's became. But me and my brother-in-law actually built a bookshelf. Took us forever.
And it's a big bookshelf.
Yeah,
Like,
it's a big bookshelf.
like,
It's
what,
nice.
six-
We did a great job.
It's
I mean,
6
it's
feet wide or so.
yeah,
isn't it? I mean, sizable.
it's
or tall, yeah.
Yeah,
It's-
it's about 6.5 feet tall, I would say, and about 5 feet wide. I mean, it's big.
Good size door.
We
So
have
you
about
have-
5 casters on there, but the thing is, it opens up really nice. But I ended up doing a book. It took me the latch forever to figure out, but so you pull the book and push it open, and then I have a chime, so it's a motion sensor. So when you go in the room, it actually makes a Zelda da-da-da, like the
noise right when you enter a.
Unless
yeah,
unless your fingerprint doesn't match, in which case it kills you. Yeah.
So,
Not that high tech.
to hold this thing, does it have a piano hinge?
It doesn't have piano hinge. I actually
Okay.
used normal hinges
Wow,
and just
okay.
used a piece of wood to sort of kick it out a little bit to make it fit in there. I don't know. It's sort of weird. You actually have to see. But I'm actually going to put it on our Facebook so then you could see it, and
Yeah,
you'll put it on Twitter.
That's what I was going to
Yeah.
mention. So it's look for it definitely on our Facebook. I'm going to try to put it on our Twitter, but it's a quick little video of what we're talking about, like Shane's little fun hidden door
Yeah.
leading to his like game room of fun.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's pretty cool. Anything else you've been up to lately, Shane?
Not really. I haven't really been collecting too much. I've been sort of finishing up sort of that. I mean, when we talk about Portland, I collected a few things from there, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I myself, I picked up some limited run games. Limited Run is a company that they've gotten a little flack. They make games for the PS4 and PlayStation Vita in an actual limited run. They have like 4,000 or 5,000, sometimes 3,000 units at a time. They set it up. You can go on their website and buy it. Everybody kind of has a chance to buy it. It doesn't go as quickly as what Adam was talking about, where it's seconds. You get like 10 minutes to buy these things. And it's kind of neat to have, and I've been kind of keeping up with it. So
Yeah, and I should have mentioned that. You kind of gotten me sucked into this too, so I've been buying them now.
have you now? Okay,
Oh, yeah,
good.
yeah. No, well, I mean, since you started,
Showing all my...
sort of like, hey, look at this thing I got. Ooh, isn't it shiny? Like, so
Yeah.
for about the last 3 or 4 months, I've bought all of them.
Yeah, it's like a new drug I just
Yeah,
introduced
well,
you to.
thank you for
he's your
that.
pusher.
Hey, yeah.
I mean, it's retirement or
one's
limited
free.
run games, so thank you, limited run.
Yeah, I know, right? And I actually saw them in Portland, so that was pretty cool to actually like see the company and one of the head guys that was there. I got to meet him and talk with him for a while. What else? I'm putting. What else am I up to lately? So I've bought some shelves to put up. I'm actually going to put up shelves. I usually have my games like kind of hidden behind things, and now with the kiddo coming, I thought, hey, it's best to just put them all in one area. I have them in different rooms. I'm going to put them all in my room, and then I realized, oh my gosh, I got a lot of games. I need to buy a couple shelves. So I bought 3 big shelves on Amazon for a really good price for the size of them. They're really big. I don't know if I showed you guys a link, but they are 6.5 feet tall by probably 4 feet wide, each of them. And I've got 3 of them to hold all the games, like a crazy person. I also went to a pawn shop today, and I bought a Super Nintendo game. Yeah, does that shock you guys? I know.
Yeah, a little
I haven't
bit.
bought a Super
Yeah.
Nintendo game in years. I realized I didn't have this game called Justice League Task Force. I was on my lunch hour at work, and I was like, instead of eating a burrito, why don't I just go in here and see what they have? And they had a bunch of Super Nintendo games. I was looking for one particular game, and they had it, and it was like
nice.
$7.
Nice.
I think. Yeah, it was
Yeah, that's a good
$7. Right?
deal.
I'm
Yeah.
taking $1. And it's basically an old fighting game of like Justice League, which is like now full circle. I guess they're making a movie coming up, but this is just old school Justice League. You can have a little fighting game. I wasn't a big fighting game fan, but nostalgia factor. I was like, oh man, I remember playing that. Let's see if I could find it. And I ended up finding it really quickly.
Nice.
And also, I'm going to work on building some custom cases. That's the new thing. So a lot of my games, my naked games, with my carts only, Nintendo 64, I'm going to actually have some custom cases. And I know, Adam, you've got some, and you've done some custom cases.
A few. I actually have, one of these days I'm going to have to sit down and really spend some bucks to get cases for, so I've got about well, I don't need to go into numbers, I guess, but I've got a tremendous number of games that probably need cases, and I delay it because I know that it's going to be a project that's going to take me a really long time and cost a fair amount of money. So I've kind of keep putting it off, but eventually I'm going to have to tear everything up.
Yeah, it's probably good that you're getting that done, Ben, because before the baby gets here, get it done.
That's the point. And the other thing, the important thing also, I don't have much time for. I haven't even started on those things I just said because I'm working on the nursery right now. My wife gave me until New Year's, and I then am trying to beat that goal of trying to get it done in November. I'm trying to get the nursery finished. So made some strides. We're going to pick out a color soon. We've got all the furniture picked out. Since my wife and I are both pretty tall, we found like nursing chairs are actually kind of have a short back and you can't lean your head back if you're any bit over 5'8". So we end up buying a proper like lazy boy, but it still looks modern enough. It kind of fits. I'm sure I'm putting people to sleep with it. I'm building a nursery, but anyway, this is part of life, part of what we're doing. I'm trying to get that done first before I move on to my own office stuff because that's not right.
You're a smart man.
Yeah, if my wife wouldn't question me, I'd question myself. Like, what are you doing? You got to do this before you do this. A before B. But anyway.
All right, and I guess another big thing I forgot to bring this up earlier, but in collecting is, and I guess I have my wife to thank for putting up with my shenanigans and crazy stupid things that I get myself involved in sometimes. But there's kind of a regional chain, I guess, Hastings Books and Movies and Music and Video Games and so forth. And unfortunately, that chain, I kind of like brick and mortar stores just because that's the way things have always been.
Yeah.
But the internet has now killed all of those old dinosaurs. At any rate, the stores are going out of business, and they actually were, fire selling all their inventory in the store, and so you could go and get things pretty cheap. So I picked up a whole bunch of 3DS games here about a month ago. Most of the Atlas RPGs and a few other things,
and it was pretty sudden when they announced it. Like Hastings is an entertainment store, and I remember because I had a gift card, and overnight this gift card I had is like instantly worthless. And supposedly, when a company goes out of business and you have any kind of money in their account, be it store credit or a gift card, then instantly that goes into arbitration or something. So you actually have to write a letter. Show all your proof and like send it in. You get a check probably in 100 years. So it was only a $10 gift card, but that still stunk because I like got something once. I was like, oh, I'm holding on to that gift card to get something good. And then like 2 weeks later, I find out like, oh, they're going out of business and none of their gift cards work anymore. And everything is slowly 10% off, 20% off, 30% off, 40% off. And finally it got up to like 80% off. They just closed all their stores, I think, right before Halloween. Yeah. But all their displays.
So they also put all the store fixtures on sale. And so I had some extra room in my basement, and so these store displays that they have in all the stores are probably 20 years old, but they have these really nice store Nintendo displays, big marquees on them with the big Nintendo logos, big glass fronts, and so forth. And so their Nintendo display with all their Nintendo games on it happened to be for sale. So I went over and talked to the manager and actually got a really good deal on the unit. And so I bought a 12-foot long by about 2.5 feet wide by 7.5 foot tall display. Cabinet.
So it's what that equates to, if you don't have your rulers out, is this thing is huge.
It's enormous. If my entire house could get destroyed by a tornado, I'm getting in the Nintendo display and I will survive.
Yeah. So this thing is really cool. This went around in some of our gaming. There's other collectors trying to buy these up because Hastings has been, I don't know, a dozen cities, 2 dozen cities, maybe like 30 different stores, 50 different stores. I don't know. But it was in a good amount of cities across America, mainly in the Midwest. And the shelving units you got are pretty creme de la creme, cream of the crop. Note, we're going to take a couple pictures of what we're talking about, and it's going to go up on our Facebook.
Yeah.
I'll probably put a twit pic about it on there so you can see this thing, because this thing is awesome. It is easily one of the best displays I've ever seen, and it also looks like it was kind of hard to take apart, put together. How did you get this thing here? You bought this in Oklahoma.
Yeah, exactly. So I bought this one actually down in Ada, Oklahoma, which is several hours from where I live. And so I went down there with my father-in-law. I spent about 3/4 of a day taking it apart. which doesn't sound like a lot, but it actually was harder to take it apart, I believe, than put it together.
can
But
believe you.
had to rent a U-Haul trailer, loaded it all in the U-Haul trailer, wrapped it in blankets, and then moved it the other 4 or 5 hours back here home, and then reassembled the thing. And I kind of was debating on what exactly to do with it. Put old stuff in it, new stuff in it, like what to do. But I eventually put old stuff on one side, new stuff on the other side, and then the center part of it I'm going to use kind of as an entertainment center. So I have a flat screen TV in the middle, and I've got some systems set up, and then I also have a system selector with other systems on the other side. So basically, I'm using it just like you would a big entertainment center in your living room or whatever. So that's kind of what I have envisioned for it right now. But I really like the way it's turned out, and it looks good down here.
Yeah, it is pretty cool, and that thing is not going anywhere. So if
I
you
don't
ever
think that thing would even fit in my basement.
Yeah, if you're selling this house,
This is-
I mean, it might be hard to talk someone into you.
No, there's stuff down here that will never leave, and that's
Yep,
probably
that,
one of the
maybe you're
things.
cruising USA. You also have a couple racing arcades. Like, is that Cruising World?
It's Cruising World, yeah.
Okay.
Or Cruisin', I guess. There's no G.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you gotta keep it
Cruising World.
90s. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. We like to put apostrophes, not spell the whole word out, and everything's extreme. Welcome to the 90s.
Extreme.
And extreme begins with an X, in case you didn't
Oh,
know.
yeah.
Right? Yeah, Surge. Let's watch it. Let's drink some Surge if
Yeah.
we're talking about the 90s. But we shouldn't harp on the 90s. Were a great decade for abundance in America. It was a great, especially with everything going on now. We had our recession, everything else. Like, the 90s were a pretty darn good decade for gaming and everything else.
So, I guess now we can kind of talk about a little bit of what we've been doing lately, as far as with video games, what we've been playing, or what we at least want to play, those kinds of things. Benjamin, what have you been up to? You been playing anything lately?
Well, gosh, I've, I mean, not a whole lot. So we talked about it last time. I played a little more of the PSVR. We had a party for a friend of ours, a going away party at my house. So I wanted to kind of break it out at the end with whoever was left in the party, and it was just the friend that we threw the party for. She got to do the Into the Deep. I know we talked about that shark thing, but she was so into it. It was so funny. She was like looking around at everything, super animated, as if she was in a commercial for it. I was like, man, they should have used you in a Sony commercial. She was just, oh my gosh, this is so great. I can see everything. Like, she was laughing out loud. It was really cool to see. So my friend Julie really enjoyed the PSVR. I also played a little bit of No Man's Sky again. I really like that game. It came out a couple months ago. There's kind of a lot of controversy about it. Those who don't know, it was a game that has been hyped for many, many years. And a lot of people felt a little cheated because the game was represented as something a little more full than what the game was. But for someone like me who watched it as it was coming out and saw the previews, all the trailers and everything like that, it actually is pretty much the game that was represented to be, especially the last couple months. So if you were following it closely, you got the game you were going to get. If you were watching any preview stuff, they had hands-on things of media checking this game out. It's basically a really cool space exploration game. It's pretty... it's a chill game. It's not heavily action-packed. You're kind of mining resources. The big hook of the game is that it's got an infinite amount of worlds that you can be in. It's a procedurally generated galaxy. It's like trillions of different planets, which is really neat. And you can name them. You basically see a planet. You can go right to it. You mine for resources to get your ship better, and you go from planet to planet. And if that sounds boring to you, it probably is going to be boring to you. But to me, it's a really fun, chill, neat game. And I guess what I think the best thing that came out of this is, don't pre-order games. We've got so many different ways to kind of to get reviews really quickly.
Yeah.
And if you think the game might not be that great, it's worth waiting 2 or 3 days and seeing if this game is what it is, because there was a lot of reviews out early that kind of showed you what this game was like, and a lot of people,
well, especially the AAA titles like that. I mean, like, they get them out there pretty good. I mean, lower budget titles, it's sort of hard to this was kind of different because it technically was kind of a lower budget title. It was done by a small studio, but it was pumped by Sony as if this is like a premium product, when ultimately what you got was a dang good, probably $30-$40 video game that if we only heard about it the last 3 months,
this would have been in like talks of Game of the Year, top 10, but because it got hyped so much and the promises that were made, which were just more robust. So what came out is this game is maybe 20% of what all the promises they made, but that 20% they have is still the core 20% and still really fun. But I do understand that people were expecting something else and they felt a little cheated. But there's even like lawsuits going out now, people wanting their money back, and that's fine if they get their money back and a judge deems it. Then good for them. I just think that when you take all this controversy away, the game is actually, I really enjoy it. I think it's a fun game. So that's what else I've been playing.
Yeah, and that whole thing, I think you're right. I mean, I'm sure that that's a game I wouldn't enjoy at all. I can't do I try to play Minecraft with like some of my younger relatives and things, and for lack of a better term, I don't get it. It's
not
just
for
like
us.
I don't understand. There's no goal. You're just a dude doing stuff. Like I have to have like, okay, here's point A, here's point B. Get there. Accomplish this, and so I think that game suffers from a bunch of people sort of maybe with my sort of mentality got it. Sort of bought the hype, hey, let's do this thing, and didn't really understand it's kind of a sandbox, and you sort of just do this thing without having there's no point A, there's no point B, there's no really a beginning.
The masses want action. I totally get it. There's a reason why summer blockbusters are kind of stupid good fun. And sometimes you need simple action, and this was a game that looked like everybody's going to love it, everybody's going to play it. If you really like action, if you don't, it's a game for everybody, and that's the way it was publicized. And unfortunately, it's just kind of actually a chill resource mining game that's pretty thoughtful, really artistically done, and not anything else besides that. So I totally get why people are upset, but for me, I think the game's really kind of fun and cool and chill, which is something I appreciate. In our old age, we talk about that. Yeah.
So Shane, what have you been up to?
I actually got a little bit of time in on Gunstar Heroes on the GBA. I played it a little bit. Really good game, really great game. You were telling me there's a 3DS version, right?
Well, there's a 3DS Virtual Console.
Virtual Console one,
the
okay.
Original game, so it's a.
That's why I couldn't find it.
Yeah,
okay.
M2, a developer, redid a lot of the Genesis titles for the 3DS Virtual Console, and they're all really good. There's actually the Sega 3D compilation cartridge that's a 3DS. Thing in and of itself, where it's compilation. Gunstar's not on that, but at any rate, the 3DS Virtual Console of Gunstar is really, really good. But so is the Game Boy Advance version.
Yeah, the Game Boy Advance, I've been loving it. I mean, I might lose my gamer card on saying this. I enjoy it more than the Genesis version. It doesn't have the slowdown, and the graphics are great. But I also played Friday the 13th on NES. I know a lot of people aren't too up on that game. That's my favorite game of all time. I played through it and actually beat it once. You have to beat Jason actually 3 or 4 times. I always get to 2. This time I only got to 1, but I love that game. I play it every year. But what else I've been playing? I had my sister-in-law and brother-in-law over, and I actually watched them play VR. Seems like a theme that we're going through is like watching people play VR, but I had them come over and play VR and just got a kick out of them. She actually had to quit the shark one. I mean,
really?
She had to quit it. She just couldn't handle it.
I tell you, it's too intense. Yeah, way too intense.
But that's about all I've been up to.
Something I wanted to mention, which you just reminded me of, a segment that we kind of want to do, probably starting now, is we thought it would be fun to each pick out a different video game and play it. All 3 of us play it like that week, and then kind of talk about it and discuss it. What would be great, like in the future, is if we get someone emails us, tells us their favorite game or a game they felt's like underappreciated, and we can play it, share it with the community, and then come back and like talk about it during the next episode, just for a few minutes, kind of like a book club, right?
Yeah.
As silly as that sounds, I think that's why I think we'll just, for now, just working title, call it the video game book club. So we pick a game. I think we'll start with Shane. You can pick one. And the other thing I thought, I didn't talk about this before with you guys to see if you wanted to do this, we could stick with one system, move on, go to the next system, move on. So like start with the NES.
Yeah,
You pick
let's
an
start
NES game.
NES, yeah, let's
I
start
pick one.
NES.
So that way we kind of stay in one system. That way, if people kind of know what to expect, we're not jumping around. We can also remember what we're looking at.
Yeah.
So we each pick an NES game. Then we can each pick a Genesis game. We could do like Game Boy. We can have a handheld section.
You want to do that right now?
What's that?
You want to pick a game right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think Shane did.
Yeah,
Let's do it. Let's pick a game right now.
All right,
And
I'll go first.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'll give you a minute to think.
yeah.
Shane.
There you go.
Yeah, it's funny. He's like, obviously, he's got an idea of what he wants to play. He's like, hey, do we want to pick it right now? Pick me. He's like,
Well,
teacher,
we might
pick
as well
me.
go ahead and just do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick Bucky O'Hare.
All right.
Yeah,
Bucky
so I'm
O'Hare.
going to do Bucky O'Hare.
All right. So we're going to do Bucky O'Hare for the first week. This is a game where, I don't know if you guys watched it. This was a cartoon series. Did either of you watch this as a kid?
I did actually.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. I did too.
It was on really briefly actually.
Yeah, I
Bucky
think it was
O'Hare.
only a
I sort
year.
of remember it was on Fox as I recall, and they just advertised the hell out of it.
So
Like,
describe it to me.
so it's a green rabbit
Okay.
and his buddies
Okay.
in space
Okay.
doing stuff.
All right.
Yeah, I don't really remember a whole lot of the specifics, obviously.
Man, and I wonder, you said this only lasted a season or two?
Yeah,
I
it
can't
had
believe
last
it.
Well, I
season
think it was
too.
actually based on a comic book or something too.
Yeah,
of the
I think
same
you're
name.
right.
I'm not 100% sure, but I remember it being very much in the vein of things like Darkwing Duck,
Star Wars-y.
or Tailspin or DuckTales,
Yeah,
or things
that whole-
from that era that were kind of like
Yeah.
that. The thing I remember, I don't remember a lot of specific things about it, but I remember I just thought it was the coolest thing ever. And we had a video game rental shop near where I lived, and I remember renting Bucky O'Hare a lot when I was a kid. And now that game's gotten really expensive. It's not super rare, I don't guess, but it has gone way up in value, and it plays kind of like a Mega Man game.
Yeah.
But it's really cool, and it actually has really cool chiptune kind of music. It's an old Konami title, so I think it'll be a lot of fun. I haven't played it. I have the cartridge and it's sitting over there, and I haven't played it since I was probably 7, so I
All
really
right.
want to play it.
Well, you sold us on it, so we're going to do Bucky O'Hare for the first one. And for those playing at home, you can always kind of see gameplay videos. There's something called Let's Plays, which are on YouTube, which are basically people playing it for you. That's probably not as easy for you to tell the controls and the nuance and how hard it is, or if you're really super enjoying it, but you can kind of at least see the game in some extent. Actually, a pretty good extent, honestly. It's without you actually playing it, you're just watching a video of it. And you can also do some emulators. I mean, we haven't talked about that on our show yet. That's probably a good topic to talk about at some point. But emulators are basically where you take the ROM of the game and you are just playing it through something else kind of synthesized, not the original hardware. So it's not quite right? It's kind of like anybody get a bootleg DVD from China ever or something like that? Or the streets of...
I have never consumed bootleg content.
Oh, whatever. Okay, well, anyway, how about this? I'll take the bullet. I'll have the men in black knocking at the door as soon as I say this. I had some friends buy me some Blu-rays or DVDs off the street when they went to like Tokyo or something, and you could get them for like 10 cents. And they were the funniest thing. This was back when Fantastic Four was out, the new one, which is now old, which isn't the one that came out that was called Fantastic Four. Boy, okay, so not the one that came out in 2015 that evidently was so bad it earned like a 0 in Rotten Tomatoes. The one that came out like in 2002, it had Jessica Biel. Or is it Alba? Alba. Jessica Alba was Miss Invisible. What's her name?
Mrs. I don't even know.
Okay, and there's a rock guy
I'm not
and a
Fantastic
stretchy
Four,
guy. I
yeah.
know. We're a Fantastic Four. I don't know. It's not part of the Marvel universe right now in my brain, so it's kind of not sticking out. Mrs. Fantastic? I don't know.
No,
her
it's
name.
Mr. Fantastic, and I don't know.
Hey, if we ever wanted emails, we're going to get them now.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
evidently
We know nothing
we
about
don't know how to.
Fantastic Four.
suck at Fantastic
So yeah,
Four.
so please leave
Human
comments
Torch.
about how
I know that
horrible we are that we don't know.
Yeah,
Fantastic
Human
Four.
Torch was one of them. How about that? I do know that. And Human Torch went on to be Captain America. Huh? Trivia, right? Same guy, same actor.
Oh yeah.
I just blew your mind there.
Yeah, no, I do remember
All
that.
right, well, anyway, how I got on that. I had the DVD of it, right? And it was a new movie at the time. It just came out in theaters like a month ago, and I got it, and it was in this little fake like Asian print sleeve, and it had the picture on it, said Fantastic Four. The disc said Fantastic Four. I was so excited. I pop it in the DVD player, and guess what I get? The TV movie of Fantastic Four from like 1987. it was funny because it took me like,
No, you should have turned it over and you would have had the Star Wars Christmas special.
Oh, that would have been better. So I didn't. It took me like 15 minutes to realize what was going on because it starts. It says Fantastic Four, and all of a sudden they show the lab where these, Fantastic Four, you don't know stories. These average Joes ended up kind of getting reacted into this, a la, like Spider-Man or whatever. They get their powers by some other means, right? Radiation, yada yada. So it starts out with all these like lightning bolt effects. And these lightning bolt effects look really cheesy and bad. And I'm thinking, oh man, like, boy, this part doesn't look very good. And then finally, I saw this actor who used to play in this like 80s show, and I was like, boy, he looks young still. And boy, that's not the actor. I thought that was Mr. Fan. And boy, his acting is not very good. So then I finally realized, like, oh my gosh. And then I looked up because I never heard of this thing. And yes, it was a like made-for-TV movie of Fantastic Four. I'm sure you could find on YouTube or something. I will not link to that because it is garbage. But basically, it was bad. So this Bucky O'Hare, back to Bucky O'Hare, it will probably not play that poorly if you get an emulator and you can find him. You can even play Bucky O'Hare on your browser of your internet. If you try hard enough, you should be able to play along with us. If not, hey, there's always going to be another game we pick, and we can move on from there. I think, do we want to just pick one game and then decide the next one we pick later, or do we all want to pick our 3 now? How do you guys want to do this?
Well, I think we'll start out doing Bucky O'Hare this week, and then
Decide later.
Yeah, we'll
decide.
talk about it.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it on the next episode. During the next episode, each of us
do
comes
that.
back,
Yeah.
has 2 or 3 titles we want to mention. We'll post those on social media, so Twitter, Facebook, and then our audience can help us pick the next game.
Yep.
Yeah.
Does that sound
So
reasonable?
we need emails, people. We need
Yeah,
emails.
please send emails or just talk to us on Facebook.
Yeah.
And be part of the experience, I guess. Or and even if you want to, I guess you could make us play something really bad, which might be kind of fun too.
Yeah. And Adam, we didn't want to skip you. Did you tell us about what you've been playing recently?
Oh yeah. To back up for a minute, I'm kind of a schizophrenic gamer, so I jump around between a lot of things, and occasionally I get into something pretty deep. But I've been playing Rayman Legends on the Wii U a lot lately, and I actually just beat it the other night. And artistically, that's one of the prettiest games I've ever played.
It's a great platform.
And it's a great platform. It's actually it may be my favorite Wii U game. I'm not sure on that, but it's fantastic. And if it would have launched with the Wii U the way that it was originally intended to be, I think it would be one of the best launch games ever made. But it's a super good game.
And that's kind of an interesting story. I don't want to, before you move on to that, Rayman Legends, you know the story behind it. Basically, that was ready to be a launch game
Correct.
for the Wii U.
Ubisoft pulled it, right?
Yes.
before
Oh,
launch,
wow. I
yeah.
didn't know
So
that.
what happened was these developers, and if you don't know, video game developers talk about, they wouldn't be able to do a podcast. There's probably no video game developer podcast out there because they're probably working right now at this hour. So they pull, 20-hour days, working day and night, missing out on their family. What happened was they were rushing this game, Rayman Legends, by Ubisoft, which is a huge company, and they were trying to get it ready for the Wii U launch. So for the last 4 months, these people like slaved and worked in their offices 24/7 to get this game done. Skip ahead to weeks before the launch, and they decide that there's probably not enough Wii U consoles going to be out there, that they want to put this game out on all of the major platforms. But in order to do that, they've got to pull it from the Wii, and it came out, 6-9 months later, and then it came out for the PS4, 360, which is great, PS3. More people got to play this game, but unfortunately, there was some parts that were kind of specific for the Wii U, but even more importantly, this game was rushed so much that it probably took lives off some of the years of some of these people trying to get it out,
Yeah,
and then
there
all
was
of a
some people
sudden,
not very happy about it.
and then all of a sudden they say, hey, you know how you've been working triple overtime for the past 4 months? Well, you didn't really need to do that because we're not going to launch this game. We're going to wait 3 months. So a bunch of the workers had a lot of unrest, posted things.
And I told you that sometimes I'm a little bit ashamed by how many times I've bought the same thing. I actually have this on PS4 as well, and I haven't beat it on PS4, but I've actually almost played through the whole thing on PS4. So I've really played through the game twice now.
Yeah.
And it's actually still really good on the PS4. The Wii U version is the superior version. Am I allowed to say that? I'm not sure.
You can
But-
say that.
But it is.
Everybody's
You
got
can tell it
preference.
was designed.
Is it because of the pad or what?
Sort of. It was designed for the Wii U, and then they sort of did this. Well, we'll change a few things and make some, alter some of the mechanics because we no longer have a touchscreen control mechanism. But the PlayStation 4 version is actually very, very good, as I'm sure the PS3 version is as well, even though I haven't played it. But I've kind of been doing that, and then beyond that, I've been playing Mario World on the 3DS Virtual Console. I've been playing Castlevania 4 on the 3DS Virtual Console. Which is just as hard as I remember it, although not as hard as some of the older ones. And then I've been playing not the old Devil May Cry, but I've been playing the new Devil May Cry.
Oh, yeah, and
on
it's
PS3.
and it's called actually DMC.
Yeah, sorry, DMC.
Yeah, so instead, it's kind of like anybody remember New Kids on the Block, and then near the end they were called NKOTB.
Yeah.
Okay, I was like, yeah. Why do you know that? No, I had a sister growing up. That's how I know. I wasn't. Yeah. Yeah, right. Okay, fine. So I had the bedspread and the video, and I was part of their fan club. No, I'm just kidding.
And the poster above your bed.
My sister really liked them, and of course I was the younger little brother. So, oh, these guys are so stupid. Vanilla Ice all the way. So yeah.
Yeah, and then of course a little bit of a smattering of VR here and there. But Shane, actually, I have him to thank for this, but in order to keep my old school game cred, I got to do a little bit of retro stuff, and so I've been kind of jonesing on the TurboGrafx some here lately, and I've been playing a lot of Blazing Lasers.
Oh, cool.
So that's a really good old shoot 'em up, and I go through periods where I'm really feel like I'm good at shoot 'em ups and I'm learning stuff, and then I go through periods where I feel like they're too hard. And then I don't play
Yeah,
anymore.
that's a Twitch game. I mean,
Yes.
you might as well play it while you've got some sort of ability to
and
play.
Blazing Lasers is a little bit more forgiving than
Yeah.
some of them, but it's one of those where there's a lot of power ups, and then you get a lot of power ups, and then you're just chewing your way through levels, and you just feel awesome, and then you die,
Yeah.
and then you have nothing.
Well, it's like you get the
And-
power ups, but then you're getting a power up you don't want, and you're like sort of dodging
Yeah,
power
it's
ups
really
almost.
hard
You're like,
actually to
oh
not
god,
get the
don't give me
power-ups
that
that you
one.
don't want.
Yeah.
Oh, that's no fun at all.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
it is fun because it
it's
sort of
very-
adds another aspect to it. You're like,
Yeah.
I want to stay away from that one. I love the one I got.
Yeah,
but then they're throwing some at you, and you're like, ugh.
Yeah, it's a
man.
really good game, and the problem that I have is I got to pick it up the power up because it's so shiny.
Yeah.
and so then I have to not pick up the shiny thing, and it's totally counterintuitive. And the biggest problem I have with the game is it's automatic to pick up the power ups, and
Yeah.
so sometimes I'll pick one up and I didn't mean to, and then you really regret it because it's game over sometimes at that point. But that's mostly what I've been up to lately, aside from the King of Fighter stuff that I talked about earlier.
Great. Well, it sounds like you are playing a good amount of games, so I am jealous of that. Hopefully I'll have more to talk about next time, and we'll also,
I'll do better next time.
Yeah, I know. We're going to have to play a little more to catch up. But if anything, this is a great thing. So even if we're busy, we're going to try to play this game in our video game book club, which we have picked as Bucky O'Hare. So play along with us if you want to. We're going to play Bucky O'Hare, and worst case scenario, we could play it. If we don't have time, we could play it right before we do the podcast. So we'll play it and give our little thoughts on it, and then move on. And like I said, in maybe a few months from now, episodes from now, we'll get someone emailing us. And what is our email, Adam?
It is videogamedads@yahoo.com.
At yahoo.com.
At yahoo.com.
All right. Videogamedads@yahoo.com. Send us an email and let us know what you think of our podcast. That looks like that will do it for this episode of Video Game Dads. You can email us at videogamedads@yahoo.com. Find us on our Facebook, and our Facebook page is
Facebook.com/videogamedads.
very good. Oh, I put them on the spot. You had to say that real fast. Yeah. And then our Twitter is at Video Game Dads, and you can also find us on iTunes. So if you can, give us a sub, a rating, whatever rating you want to give us. Just know this is our first official episode, and we're going to try to only get a little better. But if audio quality, any feedback on anything, questions, comments, we'd love to hear from you. But until we do, we're just going to keep doing our thing. And again, thank you for Shane. I'm sorry. Yeah, thank you, Shane, for being here. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Drew, for doing our little symbol. And we're going to link everything we talked about in our show description. So thanks, guys. It's a great episode.
Yeah, appreciate it. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Bye.
If you enjoyed that music, please check out Evan King on Bandcamp for further details, and you can download some for yourself. Thank you.
Bye-bye.